Clear it all out.
What is happening over
Get
here?
all the phlegm out. I don't know. I never see what Austin does over there.
Come look at this picture.
What is it?
What picture?
What is it?
What's happening?
Is it Mark? Is it Mark stretching his pelvic bowl?
Yeah.
What's going on, Mark?
I'm old, Chris. I'm old. That's part of it. I blame my parents' bad genes. My dad's got a bad back, so I'm blaming him as well.
They were Wranglers?
No. No, they were circus clowns. Welcome everyone to the Palm Valley Church Podcast, where we invite God into everyday conversations. My name is Mark Grohocky, and yes, today is Tanya Martinez with me. How are you today, Tanya?
I am happy to be here. And also very nervous.
Very nervous, that's right.
Nervous.
I know you're nervous. You talked about how nervous you are.
This is nerve-wracking because I just don't know how this is going to go.
Now, would this been a little bit easier for you if we weren't doing video? Or you're just saying if you hadn't shown up?
Oh.
If there wouldn't have been video, would this just been easier if it had just been
Probably.
audio?
Not necessarily. It would be easier probably if I had this thought out, planned out, there were a teleprompter or something.
Right. Okay.
So.
Yeah. But then it's not really a conversation
That's
if I
true.
have to give you the words to say, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, Tanya,
But-
I'm excited for this just because I've known you for a while now. We've been on staff together for a while now, and I know how amazing you are. You are this great person who does so much behind the scenes that maybe not everybody, especially maybe just kind of an average church-going person, may not even know everything that you do and how much you're a part of. And you're just an amazing person. And so I'm looking forward to this conversation. And because I know you're even getting a little bit nervous, but you and I are two completely different people. I'm the extroverted, outgoing. I love all kinds of people and people energize me. That's not you, is it?
Entirely the opposite.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, how would you describe yourself?
I am the introvert who loves quiet spaces, downtime. I am energized for about an hour.
Yeah.
That's my time, 2 hours maybe.
Right.
And so what fills me up is the downtime.
Right. Okay. So the
Yes.
perfect evening for you is not out with 200 people in the midst of everyone jumping and screaming and you being the center of attention.
No. In fact, when I get home from a day of work, I come home to two extroverts and another introvert. My introvert son is in his room.
Nice.
And so we casually say hello, and then that's the start of our evening.
Yeah.
The extroverts come out of hiding and want to talk and share and spend time. And
Yeah. And you feel jealous of your introvert son in his room.
I'm
huh?
just oh my goodness, I have to be present,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be.
So what do you do to recharge? How do you recharge?
I really do spend a lot of downtime, either in the morning and at night. I have to. And I'm at a place in my life right now where I can, because my kids are older. I don't have to come home. I don't have little toddlers that I have to come home and feed. They're all self-sufficient pretty much. And so
Sure.
I take that time.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, what's your role here at the church?
At the church, I have the pleasure and honor of assisting Pastor Ryan. So this is 3.5 years I've been doing that role.
Very nice.
And it's just been great. I mean, I guess I'm blessed and fortunate to have every job I've had. I've loved my bosses. I've just had great work relationships with my bosses, and Ryan's no different.
Yeah.
This job's no different. So
Yeah, Pastor Ryan is a pretty good guy. He'd be a good guy to work for. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So about 3.5 years in this. Is there
3.5 years.
one part of this job that you really enjoy?
There are several things, I'm sure. The part probably that I enjoy the most is planning things. I love sort of event planning because it takes time over the course of the beginning of the plan, beginning of the event, whatever, until the event happens and the follow through.
Yeah.
So I love being able to think through, plan what's going to happen, itineraries, dates, until the execution of it. So
Yeah.
I'm a planner. I enjoy that.
Well, and I would assume or imagine it brings you a bit of peace and comfort when you know, okay, here's the next 2 months, here's how the project's going to go, and having the plan in place. Like, you're not the person that's just, we'll figure it out, spontaneous in that. So.
Yeah, if I have a plan, which I usually always do, and I like to, I'm great.
Yeah.
If it deviates from the plan, great with that too, as long as there's a plan first.
Right.
So even if I don't know what plan B is, fine. Is because I can be flexible enough. This
Sure.
happens with work events, vacation, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like to have in my mind at least a plan, how I know it's going to go.
Right.
And then if something falls through or deviates from that plan,
Yeah.
I roll with it.
Which makes
Yeah,
you kind of nervous about today in our conversation. Because, I mean, we had somewhat of a plan, but...
We did?
Yeah. I mean, I think you were so nervous you may have forgot part of this plan. But, well, I mean, you and I had this great conversation earlier this week, and just talking about how we go about, I mean, I being an extrovert and you being an introvert, how we kind of think through and see the world and process through things. And myself... When I'm looking at or needing to work through things, I grab people and I start talking to them. And I have to verbally process and talk it out. But that's not you. You're the one that wants to, like you said, you need some time to kind of by yourself in this. But writing has been a part of your life, hasn't it?
Writing has been a... Excuse me.
You're good.
Writing has been a huge part of my life. I probably didn't realize it until probably maybe 5-10 years ago. But when I think back on it, I mean, I have written since I was a child. I remember writing papers, stories, dreams, letters to my friends, those kind of things. So
Yeah.
I've written for a long time. But probably 9-10 years ago, really rediscovered how much I like to write because I was writing more about feelings, emotions, journaling, in a sense, what I was going through, that type of thing. Because, like you said, I'm not the type of person to just come up to you and start talking about what I'm feeling or going through. I think through things first. That's how I process.
Yeah.
I plan in my head. I think. I overthink. I think again.
Yeah.
And when I discovered I can write it down and then think about it again and come back to it, that to me, it felt right, and it came naturally that I did that once, and then I thought, I like this.
Yeah.
I can keep doing it. It really kind of helped me discover what I was feeling, and I just felt like I don't really even need to talk to anybody. I can just write.
Yeah.
And when that started, first I did it just kind of on my own. It was journaling.
Was it something that you just thought of to practice, or did you have other friends that did this?
I didn't. I did it on my own, and this was another one of those things. I don't like to involve people. I don't want to burden people.
Right.
I don't want to talk to them. I don't want them to know that deeply who I am or what I'm going through.
Yeah.
So I wasn't looking for people to write with at the time. And so when I discovered blogging, I would write things down and I would post them. In the beginning, I mean, nobody knows about it. I didn't tell anyone.
Right.
So I would write things.
So for you, what was the purpose of it? I mean, you started this blog thing. I mean, what was the purpose of it for you?
I think in my mind, I really wanted other people to hear me and read it without me saying anything.
Yeah. That's a huge statement in and of itself. I wanted people to hear me.
Yeah.
But I don't like to talk.
Also, I wanted people who I didn't know to hear me.
Oh.
Because I didn't talk to my friends, my family about issues, problems, anything that I was feeling, whether it was major or minor.
Right.
So I found that if I would write and post it on a blog, I could see people were reading it because people would comment, and at first it was just, a couple people.
Right.
But then that grows. And I did discover that I like that because I could still have a voice and I could share, and this is what I wanted to get off my chest, whatever, and have people respond. And I liked it best that they were people I didn't know.
Yeah. So what did it feel like when you finally wrote something and just put it out there before anybody maybe responded? What does it feel like for you to kind of get it out on paper?
It was just kind of a huge release.
Okay.
Like it was, I can express myself and I'm not holding it in.
Right. Okay. And then did you start having feedback? Did people respond to maybe some of your first blogs out there?
The first one's not so much. I mean, not a lot. It
Right.
just, but that's how social media works. You put yourself out there.
Right.
And people find it, they find you, and then they kind of respond.
Yeah.
And that at first was a little unsettling because it's not what I was looking for.
Right.
And
Right.
I thought, I don't really want to put myself out there, but I don't know who these people are, so I don't care what they say, how they're responding. It was
Right.
it was positive feedback.
Yeah.
And I learned that it kind of, it did make me feel good to get feedback
Yeah.
from sharing things that I was feeling at the time.
Sure. So you've went through this kind of time period. You said when you were younger, you loved to write, and then you've come back to it as an adult. And so you went through this time period of really finding out journaling and how that helps you, and it turned into a blog for a bit. But you stopped doing that for then a time period as well. What did you see maybe accomplished from the first time you kind of wrote through that blog for a few years? What did you see happen maybe inside of you, or how did it help you to maybe get things out for a few years?
I think because I can look back on it now.
Sure.
I remember, because I look back and I was like, it's been since 2014, so it's been almost 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Since I put myself out there and wrote.
Yeah.
After that, I just really stopped. And I remember that last year just kind of thinking, I'm kind of tired of expressing myself in this outlet, in this medium. And I was confused kind of because I thought I should be still doing this, but I don't really want to. Something just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And there was a transition period of, do I keep doing this? I don't want to. I think at that time too, I was starting to talk to more people. So writing didn't have the same effect it did on me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my community of people who I would then start to write with was growing. And I think at the time, my following kind of, and it's not huge by any means, but there was enough people, hundreds, that as they were kind of, I knew they were sort of reading what I was writing. We were all sort of in this community get together, encouraging each other. It was starting to get too much for me. And I thought, I don't want this platform. It's too much. Now there's more people that kind of know me. I don't like it. So that kind of had me going, I don't know if this is really what I want. But now that I look back on it, I feel like that period of time where I was in my deepest thoughts writing. I think I was putting myself out there, but I was also hiding behind that, that whole period of time. And I feel like I stopped at the right time because silence is good, like for a season. And I really did feel that way. Like I felt like, yes, I'm kind of being loud over here, but I can't do that forever. And it was just time to not be in that place.
I think what I love about this entire kind of part of your story that you're sharing is you came to this place of stretching yourself, of using something that helps you, writing, but you didn't just leave it as kind of a journal that was just private for you. You kind of let yourself, you opened up to others, and you expanded who you were, and you saw a community form around that, and you saw relationships, but you also then, you recognized yourself. And you didn't keep it going to a point where it burnt you out or where you got exhausted with it. You came to a point going, I think this season of blogging has maybe come to a close for me. And so you ended it. And you saw yourself, you recognized yourself, you understood yourself in all of this. I think that's a huge thing. I love that you saw the benefit of it and you knew the time that it was time to end it as well. So do you do any more writing now? Is writing a part of your life today?
It is not nearly as much as it was.
Sure.
And there are so many times that I miss it. I want to get back to doing something. So I
Yeah.
almost feel like this is kind of a jump start into maybe something new.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it'll look a lot different because now I'm much less focused on me personally and trying to sort of express different feelings, because that was just a different season in my life. That now I really am wanting to kind of go a different direction into storytelling, which I love. I've always been kind of a storyteller.
Sure.
To find stories of other people and follow kind of their journeys.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. What that looks like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like writing, it's just always natural. So I'll always journal. What I do with it, whether I post it, I don't know. It even, because I was looking, even with social media in general, that kind of didn't take a nosedive, but that tapered off too. I really don't post or share much anymore, but I feel like it's time to put myself back out there.
Sure.
Somehow.
Yeah. I love that idea of storytelling, because I think you are one of these people who is such a great listener. I've seen you in so many different conversations just around the office, and that you do a great job of listening to people. You genuinely care about people and their story and what's going on. And I've seen you tell some other people's stories through some of the writings that we've had some series and that we've needed some of those. And I've seen you do that in such a great way because you're so passionate about people's stories. And I think that was part of what was so great about you sharing some of your story through your blog, was because you cared about the story. It was your story, but it was almost as if you wanted to share it so that others would have the opportunity to share their story. Would you say that was accurate?
Yes, 100%. And honestly, I would much rather listen than talk and share stories anyway.
Right.
But yes, and I think that was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned from writing and sharing.
Yeah.
The same thing happens when you talk and share, is that other people can relate. And other people can either benefit from or be encouraged by what you write, what you share, what you're going through.
Yeah.
And so it's so important to share in some way your story.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that I would just love to be behind the scenes. I'm like a closet journalist. I just want to hear what's going on with other people and not have to, be the one that's out there, because I always thought I don't have a story. I don't have anything to share.
Yeah.
Until you start sharing and then you realize that you do.
Exactly. Well, so what would you encourage the introverts out there that they're the same way? They love to maybe listen to this podcast and hear other people's stories, but they have a story. So how would you encourage them?
I would say in whatever way you feel comfortable. There's so many different ways to express yourself. There are musicians who write songs. There's poets who write poems. Talking just to a close circle of friends, talking to family, writing, whatever it is to get your thoughts out on paper or wherever.
Yeah.
Helps. And baby steps. I mean, it just takes a time or two to kind of get started and see what happens from there.
Very nice. Well, I appreciate you sharing part of your story here today, Tanya.
I didn't really share part of my story.
Yeah, I mean, journaling is a part of your story.
Yes, you're right. It is.
And you just went in front of, all 10 people that we have listening, or 100. I don't know where we're at now. So it's all of them now know you're an introverted person. So you took a big step here. I mean, we've been asking for you to be on this podcast for a very long time.
This is a huge step for me. And honestly, I did tell myself the beginning of the year, this is going to be my year that I'm going to step out and do things that make me uncomfortable. So here we are, July.
Yeah.
This thing one. Progress.
You have already done one thing. And the second thing is what? Trying sushi, right?
Trying sushi is going to be the second thing.
Yeah, the second thing.
Yeah.
So if any of our listeners want to help Tanya out, she wants sushi.
I will come back for part 2 and eat sushi.
Okay, so you would share your story about what it's like to have sushi for the very first time. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good challenge. So we will see which one of our listeners comes up with that. So, but thanks for joining us today, Tanya.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
You survived it.
I did.
See, it wasn't so bad,
Wasn't
right?
that bad?
Well, that's good. One last question.
Yes.
Are you back to writing? Like, is there a blog out there that people could find, or no? Or we haven't gotten that far? If not, that's okay. I just wanted to check.
There is. I don't know that I should share it yet.
Okay.
But I could.
That's good.
Should I?
No, this is up to you. Without a doubt.
know.
I tell you
I mean,
what.
it's-
Why don't everyone that wants to know about where they can find your blog, they're going to come talk to you in the lobby.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So you don't have to worry about.
All right.
You just have to talk to lots
I
of people.
could mention that the old blog name is not the same,
Oh, okay.
but probably anyone who knows the old blog name is probably not listening.
Oh, okay. All right.
But if you are, and if you go there, there's no longer me.
That's right. Yeah, you have
So-
changed name
Yeah.
domains, so
I have.
you're different on that. So okay. Well, thanks for joining us today, and
Thank you for having me.
thank you for representing like introverts across the world.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think it's such a powerful thing, writing. It without a doubt is something I think all of us should do, and so I think it's a good outlet. And I love your stories, and I love the storytelling that you do. So thank you for sharing part
Thank
of that
you
with
very
us
much.
today. All right, and
That's
thank you
great.
everyone else for joining us, and we will hopefully connect with you online or in person. Have a great week, everyone.